So this is video number 2 in our series of Giraffe for the Practitioner. And so Corey, last video actually showed us how to blueprint. In this video, we're going to be talking about navigating Giraffe, because let's face it, it is something brand new. It is not a spreadsheet. You kind of have to know where things are at.
Yep.
Right, Corey?
You have to know where things are at, and there's a lot of things we've learned along the way for best practices on some of the back-end settings that will kind of walk you through where those are and where to find everything.
And that's one of the powerful features of Giraffe, is the ability to connect directly to these general ledgers and also connect to payroll and also connect to Google Sheets plus other things. So in this next section of this video, Corey is going to navigate some of the features in Giraffe. Thanks, Corey. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching. You know, if you're enjoying this, please do me a favor. Like it, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate it.
Hey everyone. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the orientation of Giraffe, where to go, where things are placed, and begin the building blocks of actually setting up your instance, including connecting QuickBooks or Xero or NetSuite and any of the other information systems that you may have. So when you first log in, you're going to look at something like this, right? You're going to have a templated dashboard that, don't worry about the numbers right now. You probably won't have any numbers if you haven't connected your QuickBooks or accounting system. But what we're looking at right now is the dashboard. This is going to be the screen that you find every single time you log in. Now, you may have multiple dashboards, as you can see here, that we have built out. But generally speaking, this is going to be the main hub you log into. Over on the left-hand column, this is going to be your navigation center. And so you have your dashboard, your reports, your plans, and your settings. This is going to be how you navigate most of your Giraffe instance. In the top right-hand corner, you're also going to have a couple other things to be aware of. Some health issues. This may be things like incorrect drivers, system settings that are missing. We'll dive into some of these in more detail in later videos. Some notifications, a help center, which account you're on. So a lot of you may have multiple companies that you're working with, and that's where you can kind of navigate quickly through here, as well as your underlying individual profile settings. If we navigate over here to the left again, you're going to see the reports. The reports are going to be how you deliver information to most of your customers, right? Right now we're on the default reports, but you may have quarterly reviews, month end, actuals or forecast versus budget. You can have as many templates and as many reports as you want, and you may want to think about using them depending on who the end customer is. Right? You may have one report for one investor and the other report for internal stakeholders, right? But you can really play with that, and once again, we'll dive into more detail, just looking to navigate and orient everyone right now. Moving down, we have our plans. And the plans, regardless of what level of Giraffe you have, the plan section is going to be primarily the same outside of the Enterprise Edition, which is going to have your bookings and customer section up here as well. However, when we look at this, we're going to have the revenue, COGS, staffing, OPEX, other, and then your balance sheet sections. And everything from revenue to equity, think of that as your actual linkage to your financial statement. These are not your custom tables, which we're going to go into in a later video, but this is where it flows into your financials. So the revenue that you see here in this example, this is going to be the same revenue that you see output on your reports or on your dashboards. Same thing for cost of sales, your assets, your equity, etc. We'll have our custom tables, and yours will probably look different. These are our custom built tables. So you may have your own version of these, or you may have none. It really depends on the customer. Moving over to the setup section, this is where you're going to begin the building blocks of setting up your Giraffe instance. So let's take a look at actuals. I'm going to go to some of these other sections over here, custom tables, chart of accounts, departments in some later videos. But the first step in actually getting Giraffe up and running is going to be importing your actuals. As you know, you can't have a forecast without context on your historicals. So step number 1, import actuals. As you can see here by the grayed out editions of the other logos, we're using Intuit QuickBooks Online. We've already imported. This is going to be the same for every instance that you set up, regardless of it's QuickBooks, Online, Desktop, NetSuite, Xero, Sage. I like to usually bring in 2 years of historicals at minimum. Feel free to bring in as much as you want. Obviously, the more information you bring in, it may have the potential to slow down your modeling, but I like to bring in at least 2 years. Bring it up to the most recent close month. And if you press import, I'm not going to do it now because it's already imported, but if you press import, it's going to bring up a quick loading screen and it's going to load your accounting system into here. Same thing is going to happen with Gusto in a similar fashion. In staffing, I'm going to talk about the Excel staffing in a later video. Moving on from the actuals, I just want to go over to your departments. Once you bring in your actuals, we're going to set up the departments and we're going to set up the company settings. In the Manage Departments section, this QuickBooks section, or Xero or NetSuite, whatever you may have, this will be a mapping directly to your what's traditionally called classes. So in QuickBooks, you may think of these as classes, but in Giraffe, these are considered departments. It's a one-to-one match. Usually I like to map these out. They don't have to be identical, right? If you wanted to title this differently, if you wanted to have different mapping to these departments or classes, you 100% can. It's completely customized to you. And remember, what you have for GAAP accounting may not be what you want to show for investors or board members. So usually you can map these out. I'll go through kind of an instance where you'll usually begin to see them up here, just all in unassigned as you get them. And as you build out your master sections, aka your customized sections, you'll be able to just select them here and move them into each respective department. Same thing for workforce. If you've brought in people that are, you may have multiple other workforce departments, and you'll have to map them the same exact way here. So in the next video, I'm going to go through some of the actuals and company setup, some of the best practices to think about when actually beginning your instance, and just some things that are the best practices for setup that we've learned over the past few years of using Giraffe. Looking forward to it.
That was great. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, leave us some feedback. Also, check out our website, growthlabfinancial.com. Again, subscribe so you can be notified for the next one.